Hey guys, we're going to talk about the Cavs today, who I do think have been the best story in the NBA. I probably should have gotten to this video earlier. If there's been a better story, then my bad, but I do think it's been them. I mean, they're 13-2 in their last 15 games. They went through a little over a month stretch with no Mobley or Garland, where they basically won every single game. And along the way, we saw the emergence of Sam Merrill and Craig Porter Jr. and stuff, with Merrill shooting threes when he's got like an ounce of daylight flying off of screens or screening for ball handlers, and Craig Porter Jr. at times just kind of cooking on pick and rolls, really. Now, Mobley and Garland have been back recently here, and they've still been winning, and we'll talk about that. But to go over the stretch they had without those two, of course, Donovan was great, and he's got the best assist to turnover stuff of his career right now. And, I mean, it's not rocket science with Donovan, right? Like, a few years ago now, he committed to shooting more threes. So he's taking these threes off of screens if the bigs are not up high on him. And then it's just been a year-by-year process of him, making the skip to the corner or making the quick play when he gets doubled or finding the big on the roll. And I think you're just seeing the best version of that for him this year. But to talk about the team overall for a bit, I'm going to start with the offense, but their defense was still great without Mobley. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. There was a lot more urgency in the half court. There was a lot more movement where you'd see like Max Strus pinned down. Merrill would be coming across pin downs. Dean Wade has been quietly one of the better two-way dudes in the league this season. Niang shooting has been nice for him. They would use Jarrett Allen as a hub more on offense for like DHOs at the top of the key or on the elbow. And it does seem like Jarrett Allen just made some real improvements this offseason where like he's taken the ball in space a little more off the dribble. If teams are daring him to shoot or drive, he's got like a few more hook shots or push shots around the rim or little gather steps off of like one dribble after like the pick and roll or whatever. He's got this little like 10-foot jumper he's getting to sometimes as well. I think Isaac Okoro has made some improvements this year as well. I mean, his 3 percentage is like at 40%. Yeah, the volume is still not very high, but the percentage is very good. But I think it's the drives with Okoro. Like a lot of times where he's attacking off the catch, or even if like the play is kind of dead, he'll just go in a straight line off the dribble, and because he's physical enough, like he's able to turn possessions that are going nowhere into something, or he's dumping it off to like Jarrett Allen or whatever. They were also just doing more in transition. Like a big thing with them last year is that they were just such a slow team all the time, whereas this year they've picked up the pace a bit as well. And as far as that great defense, which is now second in defensive rating on the season, and this was, again, with Mobley being out for a lot of the games there, my eye test tells me Jarrett Allen, very versatile defensive big, who can play high on screens, he can drop on screens, he can end up switched, and you feel fine with that, even if it's not the first thing you want to do. I mean, I've seen him start high on like Trey or DeJounte screens and then back up, or like put two to the ball on one of those guys if it's more on the wing. In a Bulls game, he would start high up on like DeRozan or Kobe White screens and then back up. In that same Bulls game, he ended up switching to Kobe White at least one time that I remember, and he just held up super rock solid on a possession. I think he got like a good contest on a step back. There was a Bucks game that I did talk about in one random video before. I don't remember which one, but they had him on Giannis for some possessions. He drew a couple of offensive fouls on Giannis. Couple really good rotations with like Dean Wade as well to meet Giannis at the rim. The eye test also says that Isaac Okoro remains an awesome defensive player. I mean, there was a game against the Bucks where in the first half Okoro wasn't on Dame, and the second half they put him on him. He's just hounded him. He blocked a couple of step backs. He blocked a layup from behind. He fought around screens really well to just contest him on his pull-up threes. Like, it sounds simple, but it just kind of was. Like, Okoro's that dude. And then Dean Wade, I mean, throughout this run, like, I've seen him guard, like, DeRozan for stretches. I've seen him on Brook Lopez for some possessions. I've seen him on Jalen Johnson in the Hawks game, and he and Okoro were doing a good job of, like, icing the screens and denying them and stuff. As far as the rest of their defense, I mean, Mitchell's effort is really good. LeVert's effort has been good. And, I mean, to have a bit of a Karis LeVert conversation here, yes, LeVert is not perfect. Like most of his career, his efficiency is not amazing. Let's put it like that. That being said, he's playing a lot of minutes for one of the best defensive teams in the league. The passing has been pretty damn efficient, and I think he's been solid. They do get a little aggressive with help out of the corner, which does back up the numbers because they're towards the top of the league in opponent corner threes attempted per game. But yeah, Mobley and Garland have been back for a bit now, and what does it look like for them? I mean, as far as on offense, you are seeing like your pin downs into your DHOs for Garland, getting it from like Mobley or Allen around the free throw line, top of the key or whatever, and getting a little bit more of that and less of the one of Garland or Mitchell dribbles all day into a pick and roll that everybody sees coming. That's good stuff. You do see some of the like Garland or Mitchell getting a screen from one of those guys, and then the other guards on the opposite wing to where they can attack off the catch or be right there for the catch and shoot, so that's good. As long as the pace isn't like super slow and you're not running the same screenplay at the top of the key every time for either guard, even if that's still going to happen sometimes, then that's good for them. As far as for Mobley's offense, so we have seen him take some threes since he came back, and I mean, his form looks good. It's mostly that It's a bit of a wind-up. It's not a fast release, we'll put it like that. And the volume is still not very high, so we're just going to have to see in time what that looks like, but it's been encouraging so far. As far as his within the three-point line scoring, I mean, you got some hook shots here and there. You got a couple of face-up drives against the Wizards that I thought looked pretty good, where they let him just kind of operate out of the post. You had a play in the Nets game where he screens for Garland and he gets a switch on. It might have been Cam Thomas. I don't remember for a fact who it was. He hits him with like an up and under move, and he gets like a push shot out of it. He had a turnaround jumper, I think, in the Raptors game that looked okay. Of course, there's the cuts, rolls, putbacks, and all that. I think my feelings on Mobley's offense are that he's fine. Sure, we would love the three to pop off. We would love a little more consistency out of the post or making plays in the middle of the floor. And if you want to have larger conversations about that stuff for the playoffs, go ahead. But I think at the same time, sometimes when I hear people talk about his offense in like a very negative way, they will act like he averages 9 points. And I feel like, yes, definitely room for improvement, but also there's a middle ground where it's like he's better than what I sometimes hear. You know what I'm saying. As for Mobley's defense, well, we all know how good that is. So I watched their recent Raptors game, and there was a play where RJ was driving, and Mobley as well as Allen were meeting him at the rim, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what this looks like. And so he's got to kick it out to Scotty Barnes, and I think it was like Garland who closed out on Scotty really well, and then it was Max Strus who closed out on Gary Trent, because that's who Garland had to help off of, and he misses a three, and that's a really good defensive possession. There was a play where Jared Allen switches onto Emmanuel quickly, and he misses like a wild floater thing, because, Jared Allen, versatile defensive player. They just do good stuff on defense, man. The other thing, too, with these guys is maybe more so than any other team, they just do a lot of staggering with their top guys. Mobley and Allen operating as just the lone big with the other one on the bench, even if, of course, they start and finish games together. They start the second half together. So anyway, big picture stuff for them the rest of the season. They might just end up as the 2 seed, man. I mean, the Knicks, while we all believe that a healthy Knicks team can be really good, it's a matter of when is OG and Randall going to be back. We know what's going on with Philly and Embiid. The Bucks, it seems nowadays, are just a state of, I don't know, we'll just kind of see. It would not surprise me if the Pacers went on a tail end of the season run here with just more time with Halliburton and Siakam together now. And no matter where Miami is, I will always be scared of them. So that's the East for you. Cleveland's got a 2.5 game lead in the 2 seed right now. And oh yeah, Rozier's hurt for Miami right now.